Fans and Eagles fans, the moment is finally here. We're finally into the football week of the week 1 NFL season. The Packers and Eagles play against each other in Brazil at Corinthians Arena. That is definitely an interesting name, but I know there's a lot of drama with Brazil and how, how much drama there is. The players don't want to go. I'm not going to really get into that because, of course, I've never been there. A lot of people on the internet that are talking about it haven't been there, so I'm not going to really say anything about it. It does suck that the players kind of don't want to go there because of how the media has portrayed it, but like I said, I'm not going to talk too much about it. The very first thing we're going to be talking about in this video is the injury report. Now, you can see on your screen, we're going to look at the Packers injury report real quick. You got Adrian, Romeo, Tucker, Marshawn, Carrington, and Emmanuel. And now, out of all of those players, probably one of the biggest ones is Adrian Cooper and not maybe, but Marshawn Lloyd. And I think that there's a good chance that maybe Adrian Cooper and Marshawn Lloyd don't play this game just because they really haven't played much in the preseason. They missed most of training camp, etc. But all the other players are basically guarantees of playing. Like I said, I wouldn't be shocked either way if both Adrian and Marshawn were ruled out tonight or tomorrow whenever they do the injury report. And now looking at the Eagles injury report, you got AJ Brown and Landon Dickerson. Those are basically just resting, they're resting, on the injury report. So they're 100% playing. Now, Devin White was ruled out, in which I do think that is a really big factor for the Packers run game because that's his main strength is the run game. His pass games, but yeah, that's not a significant blow for the Eagles defense, but I would say that's a pretty big part on the run game at least. Now, of course, it's week 1. Everything's brand new. All the stats are cleared. Everything's refreshed. Everyone's excited. Both of these teams got really high expectations for this year. Of course, me, I've talked about in a couple of videos already that the Eagles are probably going to end up winning the division. I just think their offense is too loaded. Their defense has concerns, but, coming into this offseason or coming into this season, the Eagles are just going to be really, high tier team for sure. Top 10, absolute guarantee. Top 5 probably at the end of this year. And then you got the Packers, which of course we all also know that the Packers really struggled for the first 6 to 7 games. Last year, we ended up, completely tearing out the last 4 to 5 weeks of the season against the Cowboys. Against the 49ers, it was a really good game, even though we lost. So the Packers' momentum is really, really, really good right now. The potential of this team going to the playoffs is very high, just like the Eagles. So that's why this is the best, one of the best matchups of week 1. Just so intriguing on both sides of the ball. Now, one of the most intriguing matchups, at least in my opinion, is the Packers defense versus the Eagles offense. I think this is a really good test for Jeff Hafley, with the new addition of Xavier McKinney. We're going to see how Eric Stokes plays against, Devontae Smith, Jair against AJ Brown. I think this is one of those, strength versus strength matchups of the day. Again, I just really want to see how Jeff Hafley comes out in this new scheme against a very, very, very good offense with Saquon Barkley. And the Eagles offensive line is definitely a top 5 unit. Even with the Jason Kelce, him retiring, they're still a very, very good offense. Jalen Hurts is a really good quarterback. This is one of the most bigger, like I said, and most intriguing matchups is the Packers defense versus the Eagles offense. I would say probably one of the biggest weak points of the Eagles is their secondary. And now they did address it by adding Cooper DeJean and Quinyon Mitchell in the draft, which I do think those were 2 really good selections. But, Cooper DeJean missed most of the training camp, and Quinyon Mitchell has put up a really good camp so far. And again, we don't know exactly what they're going to do in the season yet because it's fresh. Regular season is completely different from preseason, so I would still consider their secondary a biggest weakness for the Eagles. One of the bigger weak points of the Packers, at least in my opinion, is the offensive line. And now, of course, we all know that Jordan Morgan was our first round pick in this year's draft, and he has a lot of potential for sure, but we have not seen any of that because, of course, he did not play any preseason games. Why? Because he's hurt, of course. That's just the Packers' luck. But, again, with Josh Myers at the center, that's one of the biggest question marks, at least in my opinion. I know Zach Tom, oh God, what's his name? Freaking Jenkins is left guard. I almost forgot his name for a second. So I'm confident in them too. Big question mark with the center. Jordan Morgan is projected to be the right guard, and right tackle is still wishy-washy. So the offensive line for the Packers is definitely one of the bigger weak points. You know, they of course they got a lot of offensive weapons like Josh Jacobs, Christian Watson, Jaden Reed, etc. So I'm really excited for the Packers offense. But like I said, the biggest weak point is offensive line, at least in my opinion. And now, of course, this game could go completely either way. The Eagles are favored 2.5 points as of right now. And I would not be mad at all if anybody picks the Eagles because they're a great team. And it's week 1. Everything is literally fresh. But of course, in my opinion, the final score of the game will be the Packers winning. I don't see this game as a blowout whatsoever. I think it's going to be a 2, 3, 4 point game. My final score position will be the 27 for the Packers, 24 for the Philadelphia Eagles. Again, it's going to come right down to the wire. You know, maybe a game-winning field goal by the Packers with their new kicker. Maybe I'm just dreaming too much. But again, I would not be completely mad if you think the Eagles are going to smoke them. I wouldn't be completely mad either way. It's going to be a really good game in Brazil. I just cannot wait. 2 more days needs to come just a lot freaking faster because I'm freaking sick of waiting. But that wraps up this video. If you do like it, hit that like button, comment down below your biggest reaction of this video. Give me your predictions, who's going to have the most touchdowns, most passing yards, whatever. But I'm out of here. Deuces.